Hi everyone, a warm welcome to you all for the live webinar on the World Egg Day. First of all, wish you a very happy World Egg Day. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. We are streaming live on Facebook and also YouTube channel on the Obese channel and also different platforms. If you are not able to, if somebody is not able to join through the Zoom link, they can also watch this video on Facebook Live on Srinivasa Farms page and also YouTube Live on Obese channel. My name is Shravani Polna. I work with Srinivasa Farms Group. Srinivasa Farms is a pioneer in poultry business with 50 years of unmatched experience. Driven by desire for excellence, a pioneer and a business leader, having presence across multiple sectors with common objective of providing quality and affordable nutrition. The World Egg Day is celebrated across the world to help raise the awareness of the benefits of egg and their importance in human nutrition. World Egg Day was established at the International Egg Commission Vienna 1996 conference when it was decided to celebrate World Egg Day on the second Friday of October every year. At Srinivasa Farms, we are celebrating this World Egg Day month with an expansive social media campaign. We are creating educational content on the nutritional and sustainable credentials of the egg, while also running weekly quizzes and their annual recipe competition, which rewards the creators of the best egg-based dishes. We have also enlisted the support of celebrities and influencers to discuss the important role eggs play in the diet. This live webinar is taking place on World Egg Day with the purpose of promoting egg consumption. Today we are presenting Let Us Explore More, the goodness of egg as we celebrate the World Egg Day and the IEC organization role. Coming to the IEC, the International Egg Commission, the IEC was established at the Second International Conference held in Bologna, Italy in 1964. The IEC delivers a unique platform for sharing information and developing relationships by bringing together key industry players. So this is the following agenda for today's sessions. So our first speaker, I'll introduce the first speaker, Suresh Chituri. Suresh Chituri leads Srinivasa Farms, a dominant force in the Indian poultry industry. He's passionate about ensuring that the poultry industry is healthy and sustainable through adoption of latest technologies, good rearing practices, and welfare of the livestock. Suresh is helping the industry to be more sustainable and responsible in its production and sourcing. Suresh is driven by the mission of eliminating nutritional deficiencies of women and children in India. He passionately advocates poultry as a vehicle of transformation and empowerment. His work has been recognized at a global level and is engaged in advocacy for the poultry industry internationally as chairman of International Egg Commission. We proudly say that he is the first Asian to hold this position in the history of the institution. I'll hand over the platform to Suresh to take it forward.
Thank you, Shravani. Everyone, welcome on this 14th World Egg Day. Very happy to have you all. I think we nearly have 100 people joining the webinar. Once again, thank you all, everyone, for taking your time out and being part of this. Without doubt, right now it's good time for egg. I think everybody's recognizing the goodness of eggs. So let me start my presentation, and within that I will, of course, okay. Is it visible? Everyone can see?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So once again, welcome. Today, World Egg Day, it's organized by World Egg Organization to focus on the crucial role that egg plays throughout our lives as a source of not just as a high quality protein, but all the other benefits it's bring together. So zero hunger. It is it's estimated that malnourishment is reality for about 1 billion people. Eggs have potential to eliminate global hunger by providing a high quality source of protein. So, and the global population is expected to go up to almost 10 billion in the next few years. And out of that, as you can see, most of that would be in underdeveloped and developing countries. So, and I think that's where most of the challenges of nutrition are. So, again, over the next 40 years, we'll need to produce as much food as we have in the last 8,000 years of agriculture. So, it is not like we have to grow double, it is as much as what has been produced in the last 8,000 years. So, we need, as in the next 40 years, we need that much food, and we need to think about this. 191 million people, so about 19 crore Indians are undernourished between 2014 and 16. So again, there's a triple burden of malnourishment, undernourishment, stunting and wasting, poor growth, infections and deaths, poor cognition. So that means the ability to understand is low, and memory problems all their life. Hidden hunger, hidden hunger, which is, I think our governments have done a brilliant job of taking care of hunger, but now there's a hunger of micronutrients, and this is what we call hidden hunger. And this leads to poor growth and development, poor immunity and tissue development, poor health, and risk of deaths. And underweight, which is including overweight, including obesity, short-term cardiovascular problems, infections and poor self-esteem, long-term obesity, diabetes, and other metabolic disorders. So these are the three burdens of malnourishment. Again, I don't know how many of you are present to this. Almost 60% of children under 5 in India are not growing well. They're stunted, wasted, or overweight. Globally, 1 in 3 are not growing. In India, it is 1 in 2 are not growing well. So this percentage of children aged 26 to 23 months within India, and what are the results? Only 25% of children in South Asia are being fed much needed nutrients from animal source foods. 56% of children in South Asia are not fed any fruit or vegetable. So this is again a critical problem, and this problem is not just for now; it's for rest of our future. So percentage of children aged 20 to 23 again are eating less diverse diets compared to children in 12 to 23 months, 6 to 11 years. I think typically we feed them, rice and rasam in South India. I think in North India maybe it's a little different, but similar kind of food, and I think and that results in some permanent damage for these children. This is impact of malnourishment in 1,000 days. The first 1,000 days has a lifelong impact. They're wasted, underweight, stunted growth. So states in India with the lower per capita state GDP and lower consumption, less than 40x, have higher percentage of underweight and stunted children when compared to those states which are comparing more than 80x per year. So this is an example from Ecuador, the study done, and they have seen that 1 egg a day from the 6th month onwards has resulted in 47% less stunting and 74% of children being less underweight. And this is critical, I think, and even for India, I think this is the main opportunity for the egg industry to solve. So I think this is what we need to look at now. Egg is the cheapest source of protein for sportsmen, for beauty, protein intake increases skin health, hair, reduction of wrinkles. For old people, maintenance of muscles and bones, and for obesity, it increases your satiety, increases your feeling of fullness, and makes you eat less. Weight management, dieting. I'm a prime example of this. In the last 20 months, I've lost almost 33 kilos. I was pre-diabetic, no more. My cholesterol is down from around 200 triglycerides to about 60 now. My VLDL from around 35, it's down to 11. And this is eating more whole eggs, 4 eggs every day, full eggs. So, and as you all know, egg is the ultimate superfood and is the original and ultimate superfoods. So it contains 6 grams of protein and 14 essential nutrients each egg. So as you can see, and this is the main thing. As again, the bioabsorbability of eggs is fantastic. So I say 2 eggs a day is a must for everyone. And I think we should all now talk about 2 eggs a day, because 1 egg a day, while it is great, 2 eggs a day is fantastic, and I think that's what we should recommend. Yeah, and this is what an egg is, right? I mean, it contains all these, right? And I think this is what we need to educate people more on, people around us, governments, policymakers. I think, and it's critical and important we do that. So why are these nutrients so important in India? An important building block for bones, muscles, cartilage, skin, blood. The protein, body uses protein to build and repair tissues, as well as making enzymes, hormones, and other body chemicals. A single large egg, as I said earlier, contains 6 grams of protein. Apart from this, eggs also contain all the essential amino acids, which are further help in working with protein in your body. Indian Market Research Bureau 2017 report states that protein deficiency among Indians stands at about 80%, measured against the recommended 60 grams per day. So I think the recommended is 1 gram of protein for every kilo of body weight. So I think for some of them, this is even more extreme. And why are these? So FAO, WHO expert consultation have ranked protein evaluation, and as you can see, egg is the highest, and that's why medically it is known as perfect protein. But then it is not just, it's a lot more than a perfect protein. So people sometimes compare it to beans. You can see beans is almost 22% less than eggs. So and B12, vitamin B12 is a water soluble vitamin, very important, and India is very deficient in B12, especially in North India. Almost 50% are deficient in B12, and I think this is critical for us to recognize that most of these issues start at an age after 50, and we are living longer and longer, and these deficiencies impact us at the older age a lot more. Vitamin D is needed for maintenance of normal blood levels of calcium, phosphate, and in general, and especially in preventing rickets in children, on osteoporosis in adults. And Indians are nearly, I think, about 70 to 80% highly deficient in vitamin D. And this is again what an egg can easily help cure. Lutein and zeaxanthin, again, very important for adults, especially with eyes. In eye disorders, cataracts, macular degeneration can be reduced by consuming. So here I was told that you can consume 600 grams of spinach. You have to consume 600 grams of spinach every day to prevent macular degeneration, or an egg a day. So you can see the choice. Eating 600 grams of spinach a day is next to impossible every day for the rest of your life, but an egg a day is very easy. Eggs are also very high in vitamin E, which is a common cause of blindness in the world, and India has a very high degree of this. Choline, again, so again, I saw a report that a mother deficient in choline, the children can never be smart enough to the full potential. No matter how much they cannot make up that in their lifetime if the mother is deficient. And again, this is something that is cured by an egg a day. And because the best vehicle for delivering choline. So that's why I think an egg a day for better health, especially in children from 6 to 24 months. It has huge benefits, and I think we should all talk about this and promote this. And I think there is also this old science where we get worried about yellow and fat in it. Most of the cholesterol fat in yellow is good cholesterol. Almost more, 70% of it, I think. And in addition, it's not just the protein, right? All the essential minerals and vitamins are in the yellow. So it's very important, and I think up to 2 eggs a day is perfectly fine. 2 whole eggs, and then depending on your physical activity and all that, you could probably increase that. So in Uganda, where there was a study done in rural Uganda, and they showed both height and weight of these children has been on par after consuming 2 eggs per day. And a Lulon study, again on 6 to 9 months, Ecuadorian children has shown that giving children eggs between 6 to 9 months, an egg a day has reduced underweight and stunting by 74 and 47%. So that's phenomenal if you think about the cost of that is so low. It's just 5 rupees a day, right? So I think, so here I wanted to show you how egg consumption has gone in the last, between 2008 and 18. India, I think, sorry, we missed out. India has grown about 58%. I think Canada has added 30% here, and I think the developing world, US has increased 7%. But this needs to continue for next 2 decades for India to catch up with what is needed. So I think that gives tremendous opportunities to Indian poultry, to the egg industry. So this is a little bit about IEC and how we support. So IEC is part of World Egg Organization, and World Egg Day is what we do to celebrate eggs, promote eggs, and also to acknowledge and celebrate the egg farmers. So IEC is an egg producers association. All the producers are part of this, and the Egg Processors International is where all the processors of egg are part of it. The IEF is a foundation for promoting, for taking eggs to places where it is not there, like in Africa and all that. We're doing projects. It's a social responsibility and development project. International Egg Nutrition Center is where we're linking human nutritional professionals globally. So this is again something that we are pushing and going to take up. We have formed a task force of some eminent scientists here so that the goodness of egg can be spread and everybody can be educated all across the world. And the Global Initiative for Sustainable Eggs, this is something I am I'm pushing a lot. This is about sustainability of eggs, because as we said, now if you have to produce in the next 40 years food that has been equivalent of food that has been produced over the last 8,000 years, we need to do it sustainably. And egg is already a champion in this. It's one of the best on the sustainability scale. But I think we cannot rest there. We need to keep pushing that. And that's what we're going to do through this task force that's been formed. And so this is World Egg Organization for you. IEC provides information, latest techniques and trends, training and development, production resources, accreditation, recognition, representation, and we are taking up a lot more activity in IEC, and I'm pushing it, and especially to make it more relevant to the developing world, countries like India and Africa. So with that, thank you. I think in the second part, we will talk more about these things and maybe some question and answers too. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh, for the wonderful presentation and the knowledge that has been shared with us all. So now the next speaker is Mr. Tim Lambert. Unfortunately, he was not able to join us here on live, but he was kind enough to send us a very good presentation put together in a video presentation for us all. A brief introduction on Tim Lambert. If there are any questions, we'll be sharing you mail ID. You can send all your queries on that mail ID and we'll be answering them. And also Mr. Tim also will be making video responses for those particular queries and sending to us. So
I think, Shravani, I wanted to say this here. I think we need to appreciate something that under Tim's leadership, Canada, which is an advanced country and has already been consuming a lot of eggs, have increased the egg consumption by 50%. And the Canadian farmers are doing fantastic, and I think it's a model for all of us to. So I request all of you to pay attention and listen to Tim's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh. Tim Lambert has led the Canadian egg industry through a period of unprecedented growth as Chief Executive Officer of Egg Farmers of Canada. He's passionate about sustainable food systems, building public trust, and helping more people in Canada and around the world access the incredible nutrition and protein found in eggs. Mr. Lambert is a founding trustee of the International Egg Foundation from 2017 to 2019. He served as chairman of the International Egg Commission and currently fulfills the role as president of the International Egg Commission. He also served as a chair of the Heart for Africa Board of Directors and Foundation to 2016 to 2019 and is a past member of the Egg Industry Center Board of Advisors. Tim was awarded the University of Yolk's prestigious Alumni of Honor Award in 2018 for his professional and volunteer contributions both nationally and globally. Let's have the video bite.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy World Egg Day. It's a real privilege to have been invited to share this with you and share some of my thoughts. And in particular, I wanted to thank Suresh. I've known Suresh now for quite a few years, and he's doing an excellent job as the IEC chair through a pretty difficult set of circumstances with COVID. But also Suresh and I have become pretty good friends through the years that we've been working together. And I think he's a valuable contributor to the global egg industry and obviously a very key player in India. What I want to do today is talk about opportunity, talk about the opportunity to grow egg consumption. I'm going to use Canada as the example, but really I think trying to share some thoughts on how we can grow our industry. I don't profess any particular knowledge of the Indian industry and markets. You have that knowledge, I don't. But I do have some really strong thoughts on how we can grow our businesses, grow our industry, whether that's Canada, India, or around the world. So let's get to it. All right. Just a bit of context. Canada is grown steadily over the years, and we don't think it's by accident. We think it's because of the programs that we have in place. It's because of the things we do, and it's that I'd really like to share with you today. So we've seen considerable growth over the years, probably 60% or so in the last 15 years. However, you guys are growing even more rapidly. I think over the last number of years, you've grown per capita egg consumption from about 17 up to 70. So your growth is higher than ours, and it's a really exciting opportunity for you, and I really hope you see it that way. Globally, we're seeing similar trends around the world. People are eating more and more eggs. They're seeing the nutritional value. They're seeing the affordability. The quality of the protein is a huge opportunity. And we have a good news story to tell. want to talk to you a little bit about production around the world. Very interesting, and I think it highlights the tremendous growth opportunity that I see for India in particular. If you look at the red dots, you'll see the biggest is in China. China produces probably 34% of the world's eggs, and I'll show you a slide in a couple of minutes that shows the per capita consumption by country. They are one of the world's largest consumers of eggs. Now, what's interesting about that is, preparing for this presentation, I saw a stat that India's population will meet or exceed that of China by the year 2027. And when you think about the per capita consumption of eggs in India versus China, there's a very, very interesting long-term opportunity that I see to pursue that. You'll see the US is also a very large producer, probably about 9%, and India is rapidly closing in. At some point in the next probably couple of years, India will become the second largest producer of eggs in the world. So you're on the track. And what I wanted to talk to you a bit about today is some of my thoughts on how you might take those next steps, some of my thoughts on how you can go from where you are to even more growth in your industry. Egg consumption in Canada per capita continues to grow. We're now up to about 265 eggs per person per year. As you can see, that's a dramatic increase since 2009, where our per capita consumption was under 200 eggs. And there's similar for India, showing that increase that I mentioned a minute or so ago, up to over 70. Now, this is a slide I wanted to share with you that you can really think about why I believe you have such a tremendous opportunity to grow egg consumption and production in India. You can see the 300 line, I hope. It's clear enough to you. And the countries that are over 300 are China. Japan is the second largest consumer of eggs per capita on the planet. And Mexico is number one at well over 350 eggs per person per year. And the other one that's over 300 is Russia. So if you look at Russia, China, Japan, all of those countries, with the exception of Japan, are still countries that you would describe as developing. Now, if you're looking for India, just look for the smallest little yellow box that you can see, and you will see there is your opportunity from where you're at all the way up to 300 eggs per person per year. I believe it's attainable. I believe you can do it, and I'm really quite excited about how that can happen. So this is where I'll start to talk a bit more about Canada, but I really believe that these drivers of growth in the egg industry transcend our borders. I really think that these are universal opportunities, which is why I'm happy to share what we're doing in Canada. And as I said at the start, I have no particular specific knowledge of the Indian industry, but I do think what worked here can be modified and put to good use there as well. Well, number one, eggs are a versatile, high-quality, nutritious protein. And I'm going to talk more about this in a few minutes, but it is the highest quality protein of any food source in the world. So the quality and availability of the protein in eggs is unmatched by any other food. And in a diet in India, which is primarily vegetarian, it's a protein that will have a dramatic impact on the nutritional quality of diets. So that's a big strength we have. Second, for Canada, and I think this is something to be considered, I think that in order to show the public, whether it's food safety in particular, and I'll talk about biosecurity in a minute, I think that's an area, if people eat your product and fall ill because of it, you can work to build the reputation of the industry, talk about the quality of your product. But if you have disease outbreaks like salmonella, or there's a problem with avian influenza that could impact people. That's a huge barrier to overcome, and I think consideration needs to be given to how you can strengthen those on-farm systems and programs. And that relates to this point. I think that in this competitive world where people are getting a lot of misinformation, information, people saying, you know, don't eat animal proteins because it impacts climate. Don't eat animal protein because plants are better for you. There's so much misinformation that a key pillar in Canada is building trust with the public in who we are as farmers, what we're doing, and the standards we adopt on our farm. Which leads me to the other driver of growth is this notion of disease management and biosecurity. I know the International Egg Commission has done an excellent job of putting forward a set of global standards for biosecurity. I think they're very attainable. I think the use of antibiotics and antimicrobials are coming under increasing scrutiny around the world. And I think every government is concerned with that. And so while it may be less of a problem or a challenge in India today, improving biosecurity is something that I believe is a key driver for growth in our industry. And finally, it's about what you're doing right here today, and that's gathering as a group, talking about how to build a better industry. But I've been in conversation with Suresh, and it's a project that he and I are very interested in. We have a system in Canada of sustainable management, and what it effectively does is ensure that farmers get a fair return for their work and get a fair return for the eggs they sell. It is absolutely not subsidized by government at all, and so it's a topic that Suresh and I will specifically work on. But I think there's an enormous opportunity for the Indian industry to look at some of how that system in Canada works. And just to illustrate my point, so this graph shows returns to farmers over time. So from January 2010 to January 2020, that yellow line is Canada. And you can see the blue line, which is the returns to farmers. That goes up and down as it does, I know, in India. There's one period of time where it spikes higher than Canadian farmers, but you can see that over time, Canadian farmers earn a fair and consistent return on what they're paid for producing eggs. So a very, very interesting model that I'd love to spend more time talking to you about. So let's talk about the vision for the future of global egg industry. And I say the growth opportunity globally and in India specifically is exponential. So building on this notion of efficiency and sustainability, I think you'd be aware of this, but eggs are the most efficient animal protein. In terms of conversion of a pound of feed into a pound of protein, eggs are unmatched. The closest animal protein to us might be fish, but I think we are the number one. That's a great story to tell. Eggs have a positive impact on climate change. We did a study a number of years ago now that tracked our industry over 50 years, and we have over that 50 years, and a lot of it's to do with genetics, feeding, biosecurity. 41% less energy use, 68% fewer greenhouse gas emissions, 81% less land. And this one we like to use, we produce 50% more eggs using 50% of the resources that we did 50 years ago, and 69% less water. Now those impacts translate ultimately to the bottom line as well. The cost to produce a dozen eggs can be continuously improved and reduced. And you have a fair return built in. You can make a living and you can reinvest in the things you need to do to build public trust. Eggs aren't meat. Eggs are affordable. If you look at, this is not our data, Egg Farmers of Canada, this is the World Resource Institute, and it shows eggs as a low carbon footprint or a low environmental impact food. similar to nuts, soybean production, certainly stronger than other meats. And within the Indian diet, it's predominantly vegetarian. I see a massive opportunity for eggs to be a key part of diets going forward. And they're also one of the most affordable forms of animal protein. Eggs, as you know, well, in some ways relatively easy to produce. Obviously, there's lots of challenges, but certainly a few birds can feed a lot of people. It's easier to scale up. And as an aside, through our International Egg Foundation, we're doing a lot of work globally. In fact, even discussing some projects in Asia, but we have several currently in Africa where we're helping smaller scale farmers enhance their production, enhance their productivity, and become more and more commercially viable. So again, even with development projects around the world, eggs are seen as a key tool. Egg production is aligned with the vision of a sustainable food system. And so around the world, these are the UN Sustainable Development Goals. They've been adopted by virtually every country in the world. And if you look at the impact that eggs can play in terms of contributing to less poverty, helping to eliminate hunger, clearly number 3, good health and well-being, and the list goes on. Industry innovation and infrastructure, climate action. You saw the impact, positive impact eggs can have on reducing impact of climate change, life on land, and partnerships. So many of the goals of the UN Sustainable Development Goals exactly fit in with eggs. So your government, I would hope, would be highly motivated to help your industry grow as well. So together, I think we can revolutionize the future of the egg industry. The time is right. We have a platform for growth. Eggs are one of the few food items I think are poised for exponential growth in India and around the world. And as we continue to improve what we do, our future just gets brighter and brighter. I think together, we have an amazing story to share. And anything Canada can do, I started by talking about Suresh and my relationship. Certainly, we would be happy to help work with your industry to help you succeed and grow. Happy World Egg Day. Thanks, everyone.
So, like I said before the video had started, please send your queries to contact@srinivasa.co, or even you can post your queries on the chat here. We'll be on for the next 5 minutes. You can post all your queries on the chat box. And then also, we'll be taking a 15-minute break. So 5 minutes plus another 15 minutes will be till 11:35, sorry. 11:35 we'll be back with a panel discussion where we'll be addressing some of your questions, and then we also have a live question and answer session. So please keep posting your questions, and also we will be posting the replies for the questions that are not answered in the sessions on our Facebook page. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome back. So we'll go ahead with our panel discussion for the next session. So we have Mr. Sanjoy Mukherjee here. Sanjoy Mukherjee is the executive editor of Indian Poultry Review, the country's oldest poultry industry publication, with a lineage spanning 5 decades. IPR Group is South Asia's oldest poultry media organization. Sanjoy Mukherjee is a seasoned media professional, spent a quarter of a century with the Times of India before turning entrepreneur and joining the family business to spearhead the re-engineering and digitalization of this 54-year-old colossus. In his other avatar, Sanjoy is a business consultant working with clients across a range of categories, including education, hospitality, real estate, jewelry, and retail. His areas of expertise include product launches, brand communication strategies, BTL and promotions, and new market development. We welcome you, Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee.
Good afternoon, good morning, and thank you so much for this invitation to host the panel discussion today. Best wishes to everybody on World Egg Day 2020. Thank you, IEC and Srinivasa Farms. Before we start today's panel discussion on eggs, much more than the perfect protein, an exceptional superfood, I'd like to build some context for the discussion. I like to say that, if eggs were human, they would be celebrities. The power and the goodness packed into a single egg is phenomenal. Little wonder then that eggs are considered superfoods along with fish, yogurt, chocolates, nuts, olive oil, and blueberries. 1 gram of egg contains about 6 grams, or rather 1 egg, which is 50 grams, contains 6 grams of proteins and 14 essential nutrients, which includes almost everything except vitamin C. Eggs are also the cheapest source of quality protein, with a cost per gram of protein that's even lower than that of dal. Also, the calories per serving is the lowest at about 70 kilocalories per serving, and this is lowest amongst, say, chicken, mutton, fish, milk, and dal. However, like all celebrities, eggs have had their fair, or rather unfair, share of controversies and bad press. There are a lot of myths surrounding eggs. Primarily, the myths are about eggs consumption increasing cholesterol levels, hormones being used in egg production, egg consumption during summer being bad for the body as it generates heat, saturated fats causing increase of blood cholesterol. There are other myths which say that organic eggs are more nutritious than conventional eggs. Also, artificial eggs and plastic eggs being circulated in the market, the environmental impact of egg production, and the alleged AMR being caused due to the poultry industry or the poultry products. However, scientific evidence surfacing since 2008 have consistently pointed out, or are continuously pointing to, the consumption of eggs being beneficial for human health rather than being harmful. The 2017 Pure study finds that diets high in carbohydrates and not fats are deadlier for the human health. This has in effect given eggs a clean chit. Having said that, and build that context, I would like to introduce Dr. Raghav Sunil to give us his views on the goodness and health benefits of eggs from the point of view of a medical practitioner. Dr. Sunil is an orthopedic spine surgeon specializing in endoscopic spine surgery. He has trained in latest techniques of spine surgery in India and abroad. He is currently working as Chief Endoscopic Spine Surgeon at Obese Hospitals, Hyderabad. He maintains an interest in nutrition and talks about health on TV and corporate offices regularly. We would request Dr. Sunil to give us his views on the subject today before we get into discussions with him and Sudesh and answer questions.
Thank you, sir, for your kind introduction. I am Dr. Raghav Sunil. I am an orthopedic surgeon. I specialize in spine. So, in this context of eggs, I must say that egg is a superfood. Superfood is something which is packed with nutrition, which is available readily, and it's got all the goodness which is useful for the human body. So eggs can be described as a superfood because it contains all the required nutrients like your fats, your amino acids, multiple vitamins, and it is also low in carbohydrates. Like Sanjay had said, carbs are the new, have been identified as the culprit which cause various problems in the human body. And excessive consumption of carbs in India, especially, has been linked to what has now become a diabetic pandemic. We are unfortunately called the diabetic capital of the world and also cardiovascular heart diseases capital of the world because our diet is predominantly carb based, like rice or wheat. So egg has a great role to play in this because we need to increase the consumption of protein in our diet so that the carbs are replaced and the nutritive value is added to the food we take every day. So egg, I personally feel, is the most easily available protein, which is very difficult to adulterate. You can't really adulterate an egg. It can get spoiled. That's a different issue, but you can't really adulterate it. And as a doctor, I request and advise all my patients, whoever can eat an egg, to eat at least 2 eggs a day, 1 week before the surgery and in the convalescence period, which I have found helps their recovery quite a bit. I can see a demonstrable difference between people who are consuming eggs and people who are not consuming eggs through the post-operative period. The recovery rates are demonstrably different. And egg is good in all ages, right from the time a child is weaned off the mother's milk. In that process, an egg gives them all the required nutrition, fats which are required and the protein which is required to for the child to build the muscles. And it also contains choline, which is very, very important in development of the brain, lutein, which is important for the development of the eyes, vitamin B12, vitamin A, D, E, which are all required for the metabolism, iron, folic acid, which is required for the metabolism and the blood development of the body, in the body. And is like Sanjay was saying, now egg has received a lot of interest. Some of it might be because of inactivity of the producing bodies like International Egg Council, who have take initiative and start talking about more goodness of the egg, which they have done now under Suresh's leadership, which is a very good sign. Because people without knowledge or half knowledge tend to talk about negative effects of cholesterol and fat. The cholesterol is required for the human body. We need cholesterol to survive. Cholesterol is the basis from which hormones are produced by the body. Body produces cholesterol on its own because it is required for survival. There are predominantly two types of cholesterol: low density lipoproteins and high density lipoproteins. HDL is very, very important for the human body. It's a good cholesterol. LDL, if it crosses certain limit, it is bad for you. Yes, and triglycerides after certain limit are bad for the human body. So we should not correlate consumption of cholesterol to hyperlipidemia or dyslipidemia in a linear fashion. It doesn't work that way. Our body needs to consume cholesterol so that the body doesn't need to produce it more. That is very important. You should understand the difference between the cholesterol which is in your blood and the cholesterol which you consume. There is no linear correlation. We need to consume cholesterol so that the body doesn't feel the need to produce more, which is the bad thing. At the same time, a consumption of 1 or 2 eggs a day should not be causing any health issues to a normal human being. Indiscriminate, consumption of a person whose physical requirement is not there, and if they're consuming 8, 9, 10 eggs a day, it might not be healthy. But definitely consuming 1 to 2 eggs a day and balancing with taking enough roughage and fruits and vegetables will add to the nutritive value of a meal, and definitely egg has to be part of the meal. So seeing all this, the government of India itself has realized, all the governments have realized that providing an egg to a child during the growing years kind of increases their body weight and also reduces the incidence of diseases in the future. That is one of the reasons government has introduced egg as a part of the midday meal program, and the results have been fabulous. The protein energy malnutrition, the underweight babies, the stunted growth, brain development issues have all reduced once the eggs have been introduced into the midday meal program. At the end of it, what I would like to say is egg is a superfood which is required, which will give you all the essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are the building blocks. Basically, amino acids are the building blocks for the protein. Essential amino acids are the ones which your body doesn't produce itself. You have to take it from outside. And egg is all this packed into one nice little package which can be consumed easily, which is available, which is cheap as compared to other proteins, gram to gram, like Sanjay has already said. And I feel it is very, very important to consume egg as part of your balanced diet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raghav. That was a wonderful talk, very encouraging. Could I now request Suresh to say a few words before we get on with some questions?
I think Raghav said everything that needs to be said about eggs. So I don't know. I mean, me talking about it, I think, and that's critical. I think Raghav, thank you very much. Always, I think, and he's been always on the forefront of people eating right, and he understands that mostly. And I think, like he said, I think he explained that need for cholesterol beautifully. I think, so I think Sanjay, I think we can start because I don't think.
Fine. So I'd like to ask Raghav a few questions first from the medical perspective, because I think that's key that people understand that. So in general, would you say that eggs are good for a heart patient, or should a heart patient consume eggs at all? What would be your take on that?
Yes, there are multiple reasons why a patient develops a heart problem. So all things being said, egg is good for everybody, period. But some people have some dyslipidemic condition where their cholesterol might be shooting down. That doesn't mean that you stop consuming eggs. You should consume eggs and consume them in moderation, and along with it, keep your activity level up. And if required, take the statins, because the dietary cholesterol we take is not directly linked to the cholesterol in the blood. That is one of the myths. Yes, it may add after certain, if you consume excessive amounts of eggs after certain period, after certain level. At the same time, we should not just focus on the eggs. There is, butter, ghee, which and other things which may also add to the unsaturated fats, the oils. And we should understand that excessive consumption of carbohydrate is the primary reason for most of these lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and some cardiac issues. So, and egg is a neatly packaged food by nature, wherein there are hardly any carbs, or rather no carbs, and you have your required amino acids and fats along with some vitamins. So, in moderation, I don't think egg consumption will have any detrimental effect in cardiac patients.
Yeah, I wanted to add something here, and I've been reading a lot of books about these things. History of dietary advice. Something I've been trying to understand. Where it came from and all that. And out of that, it's an experiment I'm doing on myself over the last 20 months. I lost about 33 kilos, but more importantly, I was also, I was about getting there pre-diabetic, and all my grandparents were diabetic. My parents are diabetic, so I was a little, not wanting, but you knew me, right? I mean, you saw me in my full glory at 110 kilos. So then, started working on that. And part of that I discovered is, actually, today I eat 4 eggs, and my son, who's a bodybuilder, he eats 14 eggs a day. So not all of them whole eggs, but at least 4, I think, full egg and 10 white. But now, Sanjay, my blood triglycerides were 200 when I started the journey. Today they are 60. My VLDL was 34, 35, is now around 11. And Sanjay can, Raghav, you can please comment if it's right or wrong, if I'm doing well or not. My HDL, of course, HDL started increasing more after I started exercising, which is only in the last few months. is now around 57, 58 from, again, used to be in, 11, 12 or say around that. Today actually, I almost don't worry. And also what I notice is, you cannot eat saturated fats endlessly. It's not like carbs. Carbs are the only things, you can eat more than what your body needs. Saturated fats and protein at some point, I would say about a week later, it would start self-regulating. Now, I just can't eat as much fat as I want unless I'm forcing myself, which is not going to happen, right? But the cravings part has actually gone down, which is what happens with high carb food. Carbs ask for more carbs, whereas fat and protein do not do that. Actually, they start controlling your intake automatically, which is what happens for me today. My intake is, and I noticed that, 2-3 days of eating biryani, again, I have to be careful because my cravings increase. If I eat laddus or something like that for 2-3 days, 1 or 2, my cravings increase. So I just wanted to, and Raghav, please correct me wherever I was not accurate there.
No, you're absolutely true. At the same time, when we eat protein, especially eggs, you do not get hungry very fast. Your stomach fills up and you last longer. Carbs have a way of getting absorbed faster, digested faster. You start feeling hungry faster. So anybody trying to lose weight, good quality protein like egg would be a big plus to help them, reduce the quantity of food consumed.
Raghav, now since taking off from where Suresh left off, in terms of being pre-diabetic and then having improved, see, there is also this theory that eggs actually help in controlling your blood sugar level.
Excuse me, 1 second, there's some issue with the volume. 1 second.
I'll check mine as well.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Am I audible now? Better?
You're audible now. Can you please repeat the question?
So I said, taking off from where Suresh was saying that his, blood sugars got controlled after moving into a fresh diet and things like that. There is also this talk or this theory that says that eggs are actually good in controlling diabetes.
Very much so. Basically, we need protein to maintain your health, especially muscle tone. Diabetics especially have to be on a high protein diet unless there is some contraindication like some renal issues. But normally you should be on high protein diet. When I say contraindications, I mean some renal failure cases where there too you can consume protein, but with the advice of the nephrologist. But I'm talking generally. All diabetics should consume high protein diet. In that, proteins like egg, which do not come associated with carbs, wherein your package is such a way that you have mainly proteins and no carbs, and easily absorbable proteins. They make a lot more sense, and they help maintain the regular metabolism and the health of the person. At the same time, it like I said earlier, it kind of maintains the satiety. Once you eat little high quality protein, your tummy feels full and you're full for longer, and your body can run longer without a next meal. So when you kind of incorporate eggs into your diet, especially as a diabetic, it goes a long way in controlling diabetes, and also it reduces the spike in your sugar levels. It kind of reduces the rate of absorption of sugar into your blood, which is the bigger culprit than the one of the causing the problems for a diabetic person.
We also see this tendency of having egg whites and not the yolks, because yolks are full of cholesterol, yolks are full of fat. People order out and they order an egg white omelette and things like that. So is that do you see that as a real benefit, or do you see that more of a fad that's sort of caught on?
I think it is a failure of the egg producing people to communicate their message, and rather the sugar producing sugar industry, putting the blame on the fats rather than the carbs. That being said, yes, if somebody like Suresh's son, who is a bodybuilder, consumes 4 eggs and 8 egg whites, he's probably running and doing his activity and burning the calories. See, if a layperson who is not having enough exercise eats that kind of this thing, it will lead to some problems. In moderation, we should eat the egg yellow also. Yellow contains proteins also, it contains fats. At the same, and yes, we need fat, we need cholesterol to survive. Not forget about this. We need cholesterol to survive because the hormones which are produced in our body to basically regulate the body functions are produced from the cholesterol. The body uses the cholesterol to produce the hormones. And there are certain very, very important vitamins like vitamin D, vitamin E, K, which are all fat soluble vitamins. They're present only in fat. If you see that cooking oil is now fortified with those because people are running short of that. So we need to consume egg yellow also along with the egg. But yeah, in anything in excess should be avoided unless your activity justifies your consumption.
Means. Also, today when we are in a situation where building immunity has become very important in the wake of COVID and the situation where we are in. So, do eggs have a role to play in that?
Protein is the most important food group when it comes to developing immunity. It gives the body the wherewithal to repair itself if it is under attack, like say during a surgery or an injury, where the body recovery is dependent upon your protein consumption, and it also helps in building up immunity. We have certain harebrained politicians who come up with all this fancy this thing, who came up with this fear mongering in the early stages of the pandemic. But I think people have realized that eggs help a lot in developing immunity, especially during COVID times. I advise my patients to take at least 1 or 2 eggs a day during the pandemic also, because it will add to the immunity. Then the body's you're basically strengthening your body's immune responses, wherein your chances of your recovery increase, or your body doesn't suffer as much even if you kind of get exposed to COVID.
A question to Suresh now, please. Many findings have pointed out that Indians are vitamin and protein deficient. How does IEC plan to tackle that or to handle that issue? Does it have any plans?
And so this is, of course, India takes a big share of the world on this, but India is not the only one who's all the developing countries and the underdeveloped countries. This is a major problem, and a cause for most of the malnourishment, which is close to 1 billion people impacted today. And what we have done, Sanjay from IEC, is that we have formed a task force on this. So that we have a group of scientists and through also the International Egg Nutrition Center, so that we can get all the knowledge and the various experiments being done in the various parts of the world, and then that can be spread to everyone. And that's what we have done. And we are also working on more things now. We are with the industry and with the biggest players in the industry and with the allied industry and all that. We are trying to get together and create a team now, so that we can start spreading. So there are 1 or 2 messages we are looking at. Like, one is more than a perfect protein. Using that line to educate people that it's just not perfect protein. It's a lot more than that. And the second line also, which we still need to find an attractive this thing, is that it is actually the most complete food for humans after mother's milk. So how do we say that is what we are looking at. But these are 2 things, I think, with which we will go forward, take that message. And so that's the idea, Sanjay.
So Suresh, how much has IEC focused on Asia per se, or India in particular?
So IEC's focus to a large extent actually was the developed world, right? It was Europe, Americas, and Japan to an extent. But this is where, to a large extent, I think IEC's focus on the developing world and especially Asia. I think you can say the beginning of that is co-opting me onto the board, and then pushing me to become the chair. I think is the new, that's IEC's recognition that they're not been doing a very good job of that. And that's the direction in which I'm pushing, Sanjay. And then now recognizing that they've extended my term to 1 more year, which has never happened again in the history. So yeah, so that's what we are doing, and there's a lot to be learned, Sanjay. We are a different set of games, how things go on, say in India or in China too. 35% of the eggs, it's already a brilliant consumer, still increasing. But for people to come together and talk about it, very difficult. And that's a different program. And and then and there are other issues that get complicated. I think we are complex as Asians. We call ourselves Asians, but it's a very complex. And I think that's where the challenge is what makes it fun, I guess. So yeah, we are working on that, Sanjay. I think, and IEC is serious about that because they recognize 60% of the eggs today are in Asia, and I think over the next 20 years, so as India keeps increasing, I think close to 70-75% of the world's eggs will be in Asia. And then if you add Africa, I think you asked me 20, 40, 90% of the eggs will be in these two continents. So they recognize that, and we are pushing towards that.
And from a commercial perspective, if you look at things from a commercial perspective, and the current context of COVID and the associated health issues of an immunity requirement, what do you think is the scope for, and we've seen a shift in consumer behavior in terms of more health foods, more packaged foods, more clean foods, more hygienic foods. So in that context, how do you see branded eggs having its impact in the market, or as a matter of fact, enriched eggs, vitamin enriched eggs, selenium enriched eggs? So how do you think that market is going to behave right now, and how that market is going to behave in the next 3, 4, 5 years, let's say?
I think there's definitely opportunity now. I mean, branded for branded sake, I don't know, but think something that gives more, like hygienic, better hygienic product, and like you were saying, enriched eggs and all that. Eggs can not potentially, 2 eggs can give you exactly what a multivitamin tablet can give you, and in the right quantity, like if you say D3, you need about 600 IU. So eggs can be taken up to 300 IU very safely and economically. And so eating 2 eggs gives you all the vitamin D3. But if you now want to take it through supplements, so I take about 5,000 IU, Sanjay, every day. But then my doctor tells me, I mean, I'm there now maybe at a middle level. I'm not deficient, but I'm not doing too well also. And so then my friend who's a doctor tells me that actually I need to increase that. Instead of doing 5,000 every day, maybe I should take 45, 50 or 60,000 in once a week. So, but then my point is, through an egg, it's not just D3, like Raghav was saying, it's the right cholesterol, then choline, selenium, B12, and, there's so many things, that you get through that. And then you get to fill your stomach, right? And fun way, you can eat boiled, you can eat burji, you can eat, any way you want. So I think the opportunities for egg are tremendous. It's not almost everywhere. It's the cheapest source of protein, and the bang for the buck, Sanjay, is I think where its greatest this thing is. I mean, 1 egg is equivalent to a glass of milk. Drinking 200-250 ml of milk or eating a 60 grams egg, you get actually more from an egg. And I'm not dishing the milk. I think it has its space. But point is, if in a hurry in the morning or for children, giving them that tremendous benefit.
Today we are about the 3rd largest producing country. Why are we at all looking at the market of liquid eggs, packaged liquid eggs or dry egg powder, so to speak, at least for household consumption as well as for the industrial usage?
So typically, powdered egg, Sanjay, is used mostly to as a commodity to get a cheap source, like in Japan and all that. When so I think powdered egg is not a very highly commercial product. Of course, for some liquid proteins and all that they use, but most bakeries and everywhere around the world they use liquid eggs. And I think liquid eggs has a tremendous potential in India, especially where convenience is needed, and and from that point of view, I think it has a great potential, and it will take off. I think it will slowly. I think we have to start. It's a chicken and egg story, unless somebody starts the products, and then so we ourselves are working on this health drinks, and also can we make like omelette mixes and all that, so we make it easy for consumers in the morning. And I think so like Raghav has been saying, I think to a large extent it's been a failure of the industry. We've been too happy selling shell eggs, and then we think boiled egg and a liquid egg are we have reached the zenith of processing. But I think no, I think snackification of eggs, I think, is where fantastic opportunity is there. I see Virat Kohli promoting, some snacks, and I looked at the back of the cover. It is like my entire day's carbs in one packet. It's like 150-gram packet. My entire day's carbs is in it, and I think the salt in it is like crazy. So we are now working on this, Sanjay, is that can we develop a similar wafer with maybe 26% protein? And eggs are the best medium for that. And we have done some experiments, come out very well, and they should come out soon into the market. Where these children, they can eat the same chips and all that, but actually they're getting 27-28% protein against 2-3% protein, and so. And I think that's the future going to be, Sanjay. I think once we do that, then I wouldn't be surprised with a per capita consumption of China. I think we'll get to 500 eggs per capita because they're still growing. Believe me, they are growing on absolute numbers as fast as India is growing. Although they are already eating 4 times or 5 times more eggs than India is, but they love eggs. And the Japanese too are now actually they are taking on a game. And especially with COVID now, they are saying 2 eggs a day should be the standard. So from 360 eggs, they want to go to 720 eggs a year over the next few years. And Raghav will support me in this. I think they are the healthiest people in the world. And in fact, the problem in Japan is they have the highest geriatric suicide rate because they're not dying. But yeah, so like they say, when we were there last, they were saying, Suresh, any food, doesn't matter what, you want to increase the nutritional value of it, they say add an egg. And like we eat, egg and dal or whatever, rice and dal, what they love to do is hot steaming rice, break an egg on it, mix it up and start eating. That's it. That's their favorite way of consuming, that's their like staple diet. Yeah.
And since you did touch upon the issue of per capita egg consumption, our population, our non-veg eating majority country, although the egg being vegetarian, non-vegetarian that's another debate. But so how do you see our per capita consumption moving, or what do you think should be done to the government is one, but then how as individuals, as producers, as the industry, how do we actually promote that? Because we've not done very much. Really, we've done, maybe efforts have been there, but the outcomes have not been there.
Yeah, I think, years back, I think Rao uncle and dad and all that, they came up with an ad, Sunday or Monday, Roj Ka one day, and even now we keep talking about the same thing. That's been like, 20 plus years now, right? Or 25 years, I think. And the point is, I think we need to, definitely we need to do a better job of promoting. And it's so easy, all our superstars, bodybuilders and all that, they all look at how many eggs they eat. They eat between 10 to 20 eggs to, maintain that physique and all that. The sports persons, Gopi Chand, Pullela Gopi Chand, I read this guy saying that if you're not willing to eat animal protein, eggs and chicken, he says, don't bother coming for training, because he says you can't compete against the Chinese and Japanese, and I can't waste my time on because if you can't have the stamina to compete. So the point is that, right? And I think we need to do a better job of that. We definitely need to do that. And I think if we do that, my expectation is in the next 5 years, we'll double our consumption. Because our base is so slow, right? I mean, low. We are not like China or Japan or Canada, where the base is already very high. I think we have fantastic opportunity. And Sanjay, again, that's the point, right? Every egg consumed more per capita creates 40,000 jobs. And so just imagine the opportunity that creates. I mean, if you're going to add, say, in the next 10 years, 100 eggs per capita, which is very much in the realm of possibility. So I don't know, 100 into 40,000 jobs. I mean, even if you think, okay, we get automated and all that, will come down to 30,000 jobs. Just imagine the scale of that and what will happen in the rural economy, and then think about the corn needed for that. So how many farmers are supported on that? And then the soya cake, the sunflower cake, I mean, you look at all that, just look at how many boats will be lifted. And then our children will be less malnourished. Our mothers will be less malnourished. Great athletes, I mean, like the Chinese, they were telling us, last time we were in IEC in Kyoto, they were saying, watch our egg consumption and look at how our Olympic medals went up. I did not do the correlation, sorry, but I mean, I think we should sit and do that. Is how did the egg consumption go up? That's what they said, just you see it's directly related to how our athletes are, because again, their point is, they're small bodied, they're not very heavy physiques. So there's limited, what they can eat, right? And that's where I think eggs plays a fantastic role for them, because it's a power-packed package, and nothing I think in nature is better than that. So I think the phenomenon. I think we need to get together, spend a little bit of money, and I think so far we are used to growth happening organically. Okay, COVID came, we were all crying. Now demand has come, we're all enjoying, but the fact is, what have we done in this? Almost nothing. Yeah.
There's a question from the audience from Dr. Vijay Makhija on your views on the egg sector generating employment and contributing to the GDP.
So yeah, I think so. Today I think the egg sector, I was just calculating on a very nominal basis. I think contributes to about 55,000 crores to the Indian economy, and I think over the next I say 10 years, I think it should cross 1.5 crores contribution to the Indian economy. And as I said, every egg is about 35 to 40,000 jobs, and 80-90% of these jobs are in the rural area. So you can imagine the impact our industry has, and one thing we are proud of, Sanjay, over the last 55 years of our starting in this is how many millionaires we've generated, and I think that's what we are really proud of. And of course, we have benefited tremendously from this. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But I think like my own son, when he was finishing in his final year, that's what he asked me. He says, Dad, what are the opportunities for Indian egg industry? And I showed him the numbers. And then he says, then he wanted to go meet farmers, and I took him around with me for a week. And he said, wow, he says, why? Because I've been, since he was 15, I've been trying to kind of tell him to go look at something else, because I didn't want a prince to come and sit here and think that, and I know if I say that directly, then I'll have issue with his mother. So I was trying to tell him that he should only come into the industry if he's really passionate about it. And he saw that, and now, of course, he spends his time with his grandfather every day, understanding the industry. I think an hour every day he gets coached and trained by him. But then the point is, that's what he said, Dad, this is phenomenal. We have a space here. People have a certain respect. I don't have to go fight for, being recognized and all that. And second, he says this industry can grow so much over the next 20 years, which is his career time, right? He says, there's, almost unlimited opportunity here. So he says, I would be a fool to go look at doing something else, So, yeah. And like we were saying, as we develop products, and I think as we do that, there will be some multi-billion-dollar companies built in Indian agriculture. And I think more importantly, we have a huge opportunity in Africa. I think as we build this, because the same model will work in Africa, and Africans are going to add 1 billion people in the next 50, 60 years. So just imagine that opportunity. So, yeah.
A question to Raghav, please.
Yes.
Do eggs help in building stronger bones, in protecting the body, in building stronger bones? So for older people particularly, do you think it has a role in protecting people against osteoporosis and stuff like that?
Yes, definitely. See, the bones are not just a function of calcium and vitamin D. They are a function of multiple other things like, general health, muscle tone. So egg being rich in protein will help with the muscle tone. It has got calcium, it has got vitamin D, which are all what are required for your stronger bones. So especially in elderly people whose consumption of calcium containing foods is generally reduced, because the milk consumption doesn't really happen in the elderly age, at least in India. So eggs definitely play a good role in maintaining the bone health. Yes.
And one more thing, Sanjay, I wanted to point out one more thing. There is a condition called age-related macular degeneration, right? This is your retina starts developing spots, which is and it's an irreversible condition, right? You cannot reverse it. At best, you can only slow it and stop the degeneration. Now, what happens in this is the spot develops on your eye, and for these people, it is like TV pe ek dabba hai, and in life is like that. Everything is like that, there's a black hole in their life now. Now, one of the ways you can avoid this is by eating 600 grams of
spinach is what you say.
Spinach, yeah. Right? 600 grams of spinach for the rest of your life. Imagine that, right? And but an egg a day solves the problem. And again, like Raghav has been saying, especially for bone health and all that. So it has, I think it's fantastic at that age, and so yeah, in our country, for some reason, as you get older, people stop eating protein, which is like the most dangerous thing for people's health, and especially for women. And in the sense, stop eating protein in the sense non-veg band kar dete hain. And you can stop non-veg, but I think at least I would say is you should eat 2 eggs, because 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight is a must, and high quality protein, right? And I think that's the point. Yeah, thank you.
So this is a question to both of you actually. Your views on animal protein vis-a-vis vegetarian protein.
Suresh, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, so see, Sanjay, I think one thing we need to recognize is that this is a natural. I've read this book by Macular, and which Bill Gates had recommended. It says, do we need to eat animals? And I read that thinking that it's a counter this thing. Let me also get educated, because sometimes you have to follow. So I do read books by vegans and all that on what the logic is and all that, because I don't know. I'm not saying I know the whole world and everything about life, right? And sometimes we discover certain things, that we've been believing and we were wrong about it, because as science progresses. But one thing I learned is that, when chimpanzees were fully vegetarian, and I don't know how many of you know chimpanzees eat meat, right? They eat more than 5 times more than an average Indian does. That was again a surprising thing there. I heard, their per capita they eat 25 kilos of meat a year, and Indians are at 4 or 5 kilos. So when they were purely vegetarian, and that's when the gorilla evolved out of them, and that is the structure for eating, purely that kind of food. And our system has been developed, has evolved for high density food, right? And nothing that is animal, this thing. And our brains have grown over time because of the high density food we eat. Now, that doesn't mean that in the modern day that you still have to do that. No, there are options, right? But you really have to be a scientist. And what you need to recognize, Sanjay, is the issues probably won't affect you at 15, 18, 22, 25, but after 45, 50 is when that lifetime of, if you do that, then you will have issues the rest of your life. So, and especially when it comes to eggs, they are unfertilized. There is no life in it. So, and like Gandhiji said, if milk is vegetarian, well, then why would eggs not be, right? And I think, and that's the point. And I think my only caution to people who don't want to eat eggs and all that is please watch out. You have to be more vigilant about what you're eating, about balancing your diet and all that. You just can't eat. Like I was just saying, right? I mean, we are from Andhra, so we eat something called pesarettu, which is favorite. All of us love eating it. And people say that's, I think they call it chivda or something in Rajasthani. It's the green this thing, or mung beans as they are trying to be, right? But for every gram of protein, you're getting 3 grams of carbs. So at 77 grams of me needing protein, that means I have to eat almost 210 grams of carbs to get my daily, and that would kill me faster than anything else. And so I think that's where we need to be careful about. And then paneer, somebody posted paneer and egg you can have. I was just checking the cost of paneer, on Big Basket, and it's like 7 times costlier than a kg of eggs. So I don't know how you can recommend, rickshaw puller's children or something like that. You can ask them to pay that much for that. For what are they getting? Nothing. I mean, so over to you, Raghav.
I believe gram to gram cost, I mean, the amount of protein in a gram of food you eat in vegetarianism, I mean, would probably be much less than what you would get in an egg or maybe chicken. And the cost also is not comparable. And like you said, if the child or if the expectant mother is not getting enough protein during her pregnancy, or if the child is not getting enough protein during the initial few years of their life, the effects will be felt throughout the child's life. Their health, their expected total growth, their development of their vital organs, their immunity levels will all be subpar as compared to the child who has received enough protein. The quality wise, the animal protein, especially egg and chicken or fish, would be definitely superior to what you would get through pure vegetarian sources. Sidestepping the argument about vegetarianism, non-vegetarianism, this would probably mean more bang for the buck, and associated carbs and other things are not there when you go with your with egg consumption. So that way, it would make a lot more sense to consume egg.
Thank you, Raghav. We'll take some questions from the audience right now. There's a question to Suresh from Somi Reddy Garu. Andhra Pradesh state government is providing 5 eggs a week to all government-run schools students, even during the Corona holidays. Attendance has improved tremendously and health is reported to be good. Will the IEC take it as an all-India campaign to increase egg consumption in India through central government publicity department?
Yeah, so this is definitely a huge opportunity because Andhra government has told us that that it's not only attendance has gone up and marks have gone up almost 15%, but the most critical thing, Sanjay, what they've told us is that the behavior of these children has improved tremendously. And I was like, what do you mean by behavior? How do you measure behavior? So then they said the teachers have reported that these same children earlier would in class, would just not get anything. When the teacher is talking, they were glassy-eyed, everything would fly over their head. Have now started asking questions, participating in class. And they said, they're generally a lot more involved in life. So I think that's the critical thing we need to recognize, Sanjay. And yeah, we need to do this and, study this. And I think take it to especially states like MP and, where there's a lot of resistance to this happening. And Bihar, where, every year when rain starts, this winter starts, thousands of children are dying for needlessly. And in UP also and all that. And I think it doesn't happen so much in South because our children are healthier, they're eating better. And sometimes, even like the Prime Minister also, I think, is, they point out that children in Gujarat are not as healthy as in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And this is the primary reason, not because the children are not, but, I think we saw that children in Gujarat are eating 1 egg a week, whereas these 3 states are eating between 4 to 6 eggs a week. So I think that's a huge opportunity. We need to work on that. Of course, we need to work on that without pissing off people and not making people wrong. And and also Sanya, on the other end, if every state starts midday meal tomorrow, we will be in trouble. So we also need to recognize, even if one state starts every 2 years, I think that will be good enough for us, for the industry. So we'll work on that, and we'll definitely. And IEC itself, as I said, IEC cannot come and do what India needs to do. They can provide us the platform, they can provide us the knowledge, but it's the Indian industry that needs to do, and that's what IEC is now creating, the platform where the knowledge and what is needed can be shared, and they are willing to do it freely, right? I mean, the Canadians, like you've seen Tim's presentation and talk, where he's generously ready to, they're ready to spend money also, like whatever costs them resources wise, to give us. But I think for us to ask them to come and do advertisements in India would not be fair. Yeah.
A question to Raghav from
Yes.
Gautam Hadra. In old people, tissue degeneration is rapid. And do eggs help in tissue regeneration or aid tissue degeneration?
The protein breaks down, the muscles break down more in the elderly. That is why you see that the muscles become weak, the limbs become thin, and you start developing a pot belly kind of a thing after a certain age. So we need amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks for the muscles. They are basically the building blocks of proteins. So we need to have high intake of protein at all ages, including the elderly age. In India, we have this misconception that after a certain age we stop taking proteins, only eat some carbs. They feel that carbs are light food. Yes, they are light. They get absorbed fast. That is the problem. They get absorbed fast. They get metabolized fast. Your insulin starts spiking up. All the metabolic disorders start coming in. We need to take proteins which are easily absorbable. Especially your egg would play a major role there. Normally in the olden days, I don't remember. I don't know how many of you remember. There was this very stinky drink called protein X. It used to be very difficult, and it used to be like commonly available in all the pharmacies, which were prescribed, especially for the elderly. They used to put them through the nose and whatnot. So egg is a very, very cheap and a tasty alternative to all of those. Yes, definitely consumption of good quality protein will help maintain the muscle mass and the tissue viability in elderly also. Yes.
Another question for you from Munna Muzid. For elderly people who already have a triglyceride issue, is having
What issue?
triglyceride
Triglyceride issue. Okay.
Yeah. So, is it recommended to have the yolk of eggs?
Definitely yes. In moderation, 1 or 2 a day should not be a problem. Like I said, the correlation between the triglycerides in your blood and triglycerides which you're consuming, or any protein, any fat you're consuming or cholesterol you're consuming, is not a linear one. If you do not consume any cholesterol in the form of egg yellow or whatever, your body starts producing more. Triglycerides are again, it's called dyslipidemia. In a sense, there is a metabolism which is kind of gone wrong. The process has gone wrong. You can't shut down the process of triglyceride production, but it has been observed that if you consume reasonable quantities of egg, your triglycerides might also come down. See, if somebody has a doubt, it's a very simple thing. Checking your triglycerides is not a very expensive test. You should start consuming 1 or 2 eggs a day, and then in a month's time get your triglycerides checked. And if triglycerides are not getting under control, you probably should take some statins, some medicines which are generally given for these things. But we should not stop consuming reasonable quantities of good quality protein and fat, which is very, very important for your regular metabolism. To keep your body in balance for its regular functions.
And then I think at that place, I would say, take maybe a little bit of less oil in your diet, reduce.
Cut down on the other sources of.
Cut down maybe a tablespoon of oil in your cooking. That would probably help you a lot more in the long run. Then I would say, for 3 months, like Raghav said, you try it out. But of course, you can't keep eating lots of carbs and expect triglycerides and all that to control. Carbs and vegetable oils are the two things that you really need to watch out for, Sanjay. And as I said, that's what I did, and that's what I completely, since lockdown has started, I lost a lot of weight, but my cholesterol and all that was still okay. It was not like it had not come down to under 100. So I'm talking of triglycerides and this thing. But then once lockdown had started, I really started looking at it, keeping my carbs under 100 calories a day and all that. And I've seen phenomenal results. And not only me, a lot of my friends who I've been advising and all that lost 25, 30 kilos during the lockdown, and in a healthy way, right? And they're checking. I always tell them that every month, please keep checking your blood, because, it's easy. I'm not a doctor, and, I've read certain things and all that. But at the end of the day, I remember what I remember and not. So, but I consciously make sure that they're testing the blood and meeting doctors and all that. And all of them are doing phenomenally well now. I don't know how much I contributed to egg consumption increasing. They're definitely eating a lot more eggs. But I don't know if it increased the egg price so much because of that. But yeah.
We have a very simplistic take on things, in the sense, in India, we like to think that, I eat bendi, the liquid in my joints will increase, it will become more lubricated, or if I drink bone soup, my bone becomes thin. It's not a very linear correlation. Whatever you eat breaks down into the constituents and they're rebuilt by the body. So we should understand that. And if you're not taking any cholesterol, your body starts metabolizing and producing some of it in the body, which will actually make the system much worse. So you need to kind of, balance it and cut down on the other sources. Don't blame the egg only for all your problems.
And we have this funny notions, always talks about what one grandmother or grandfather who's lived to 80, 90 or 100. When, when we were growing up in 70s, India's average was 47, 48 years, right? Yeah. And if you go back long enough, the world average was 27, 200 years back, Sanjay.
We were a very poor country who were really focusing only on carbs because we got volume of it. It was not quality food we were eating,
and look at how they were working, Raghav. Look at how they used to, they didn't have
calories
or cars or anything, right? So even today, you can't compare yourself to a rickshaw puller. As a rickshaw puller, the carbs you can eat, right? And Michael Phelps, the swimmer, he needed 15,000 calories every day to maintain himself, right? So he can eat a lot of carbs, but because that guy is swimming for 10 hours a day, right? Now you can't. Now that's the problem. I think we forget, and when we talk about apne ek zamane mein khate the, but they were not living long yet. And even today, that's what I'm saying. What did I look at? Now, if I continue like that at 110 kilos and with whatever I was doing, now, will I live long? Absolutely. But my life from 60 on, only pills and, maybe visiting Raghav and, I like Raghav a lot. My best friend is a cancer doctor. But, I don't want to go meet them in the clinic. That's not good for us, right? And and if you want to avoid that, I think that's where, our protein consumption in India, and that is the big reason why, Sanya, that's what I keep telling. My line I use is, if veganism and vegetarianism is such a fantastic thing, then Indians should be the best people in the world. Yeah? We shouldn't be ranking at the bottom of every health parameter, right? Why are we there? We should be, the epitome of health. Everybody like Japanese, living to 100 or whatever it is, and and look at how many of people at how many of my classmates are suffering with diabetes, BP, so many issues. And when I look at them, I'm like, wow, I'm proud of myself about how I'm taking care of myself. Yeah, and I'm eating like never before now. So, but eating it right, yeah.
Eating right is
a question which has come to us. A quick question which has come to us from one of our viewers on YouTube, Ravi. Can eggs help obese children lose weight?
Absolutely.
Juvenile obesity,
Go ahead,
can it tackle juvenile obesity?
Again, obesity in children has to be first, we need to see if the child has got any hormonal imbalances, other issues have to be ruled out. If it is pure and simple obesity because of excessive consumption of carbs or lack of exercise, we need definitely eggs would help. Eggs would help because you can fill his tummy without carbs, simple. And he would probably be less hungry or not hungry for longer in between because his tummy is full because of protein and the fat in it. The operative word is reduce the carb consumption and increase your protein consumption, which will make the body burn the existing fat in the body. At the same time, the child has to be treated as a whole in the sense look at his other issues, increase his physical activity, and genetic issues are also some things you need to look at. Definitely it will help. Suresh.
Yeah. And I think Raghav is right on that. And I think we should again be careful about finding simplistic answers. Some children might have certain issues, but one thing for sure is, carbs increase cravings for more carbs. And just look at the amount of sugar we are eating, right? And like Sanya, the Japanese, they are as rich as anybody else in the world, right? They eat 16 kilos of sugar a year, right? We are at 18 kilos of sugar a year, right? The whole Western world is at 38, 40 kilos of sugar a year. And the correlation, I mean, you look at it, why are the Japanese so healthy? They're eating an egg a day. And they don't eat 100 kilos of protein like the Americans and all that are eating. They don't eat so much protein also. The protein is probably at 60, 70 kilos. Animal, all the other animal proteins, they're in moderation. But they should, and they love the, cakes and all that too. It's not like the Japanese don't eat at all. But they eat in a certain moderation. And that's as simple as that. And today, that is the problem, is children when they carbs eating. I'm watching with my own daughter. And we're slowly trying to convince her to move away from eating so many carbs to, increasing. And, when you eat more protein and high quality fat, Sanjay, I think that's again important. And there's nothing higher quality than animal fat. If you have some resistance, it's a different story. But old school, wo ghirni ka jo oil milta hai. Of course, today they call it cold pressed and charge you 4 times. But, I would say go back to groundnut or sesame. That I'm conscious about that because cold press bolte ki then they charge you 4 times more, and it's the same bloody thing which all our villages se aata tha bachpan se, groundnut or this thing or ghee. I mean, today Sanjay, everything is only in ghee, and I'm telling you, as I said, I'm monitoring myself, I'm checking myself, and I've read a lot of books on this, and that is the problem. Once aapka when your protein consumption and your fat, good quality fat, if they make up 75 to 80% of your daily calories, I'm telling you, within a week or two, your body will start regulating. It will not allow you to overeat. Try, anybody try. Within 2 weeks, I'm telling you, your body will repair itself and stop, not allow you to eat. But you have to be conscious within that time period about your carbs. Carbs, I'm telling you, make you want more carbs. And especially sugars, and I'm telling you, it's 3-4 days I dropped the ball. Doesn't have to start with gluttony on day one, but 2-3 दिन मैं ज़्यादा खा लिया and I don't watch. Within 5th day, I see my craving for carbs goes up, and whereas today I can't eat 3,000. My app tells me that I can eat 4,000 calories a day. I'm not able to eat beyond 1,500 calories a day.
Suresh, since we are speaking about cold press oils and the economic impact of it in terms of charging more, we've had a question from Dr. E.C. Bose saying that enriched eggs are being sold at 3 to 4 times the price of normal eggs. Is that justified?
So see, I was once, at one of the IEC conferences, I was asking a scientist, naturally, this is a white man from US, I said, sir, what is the difference? Why are organic eggs there? Why are they claiming they are better eggs? They have more nutrition and all that. He says, all that is humbug. He said, an egg is an egg at the basic level. Now, if you want it to be better, then you can make any system, right? Be it cages, any system, you can make an egg better by what you feed it. You want more vitamin D in it, feed the chicken more vitamin D. The chicken is more efficient at converting that than we are, right? It doesn't need 10 times or something like that to convert it, right? And essentially that, and whatever you get through egg is 1:1 bioabsorb. So you don't need to eat 8 times, right? You need 300 IU, you eat 300 IU through eggs, aa jata hai. So then I said, then what is all this humbug? He says, and this is where I think I learned from the white man, right? You have to learn from the marketing and all that stuff, which I think we sometimes are too naive. So I said, boss, if somebody is willing to throw money at you because you added some tag there, right? Don't be an idiot, do that and take that money. And that's the point. And you can't blame people, right? And I think it's a failure of, again, communication from our side. On the other end, sometimes you wonder, people are so waiting to be taken for a ride, I feel, somebody sends you a message on WhatsApp saying that something and you stop eating eggs here. And then, what is nothing? And that's what happened, right? And they killed them almost in Feb and March, almost killed. And today, and I want them then, I want government then, I want media then that, this is going to result in eggs at 7 rupees or 8 rupees. And this is going to deny eggs to the poor guys. This is stupidity on nothing. There is no basis to what is happening. Please ye karo. But by the time they did that, we went into April, right? Feb and March mein immediately agar corrective measure aa jata. So then it wouldn't have probably caused. And today the farmers have to charge higher because they've been losing money for last 2 years. How much longer? And banker is not going to say, sir, you are doing great service. Wo piche pad gaya hamare, and he's talking of taking over our assets, properties, and everything. So what is the farmer to do? All talk, and poultry farmer doesn't get anything free yet. We are not, we don't get power free. We don't get, our loans don't get maafed. Nothing. And we are such duffers that we didn't even go ask for any maafi, right? We only said, please give us restructuring and postponement so that we'll pay back our loan, maybe with a little bit of relaxation. But we got nothing out of that. And it's understandable also because we were not the only ones affected, like in 2006, where we were the only ones affected. Today, every sector of the country is hit. And I think our government is not so rich that they can keep throwing away money. When US and UK are recognizing they can't do that, right? So, but I think it's also created huge opportunities. Sanjay, I think 2006 mein jo hua tha, from then to now we have grown 5 times.
Yes.
I feel this COVID is now giving us the flip to grow 3-4 times over the next
scallop, yeah.
But it's up to us to use it. I think if you want to sit on our ass and think somebody will do it, nahi hoga. We have to do it. Yeah.
We'll take one last question. And it's a very interesting question that's come from Suresh Kumar on YouTube. And I'll direct this question to you, Suresh. What is the benefit of becoming an egg farmer versus choosing other professions?
So what do I tell you? I'll tell you my life, right? My father came to this city with 5,000 rupees, started as an egg farmer. Today, I've bought almost every dream car of mine, and whatever I bought is not, it's not like I don't care for it, a Ferrari and all that. But point is, I get to be the World International Egg Commission chair. I'm invited. Today I go to FAO, UN, and I get to go places. It's because of egg, right? We have a house in Jubilee Hills. My sisters have houses in Jubilee Hills. We are living luxurious life. It's because of egg. Now, did everybody who do this? No, they didn't get it. Ultimately you have to work hard. My father dedicated himself to that. Even now, he clearly keeps telling us. When my son was coming out with us, first thing he told me and him that he says the moment he sees his cell phone in front of a farmer, put him in a car and send him home. Right? The moment he's not paying attention to what the farmer is saying. Sit there, nothing. He says if he takes his phone out of his pocket, send him home. That's what he said. And that's how seriously we take this. And so I think Indian poultry is going to grow between 6 to 8 times in the next 20 years and maybe more also. But minimum, I think Sanjay will be 6 times. So it will be a 6 to 8 lakh crore industry in the next 20 years. Now, nothing is automatic. nothing will happen, come and fall in your lap. You have to work, and poultry, unfortunately, is not a remote control business in the sense, you can't, like Rao Saab used to say, talk to the chicken and it'll talk back to you by giving you more money. So by talking, he meant, be in the farm, see what is, are the little things being taken care of. And today, I think more and more, we need to be more savvy about biosecurity. These are the things we need to, because the modern day media, the NGOs and all that have become very aggressive in how they put it out, and like they say, by the time good news puts its shoes on, the bad news is already all over the world, and that's the world we live in, right? Good or bad, in this Twitter and social media world. So I think we have to be very conscious that we are not caught doing anything wrong. And I think biosecurity is fantastic. We are seeing that, Sanjay, people are following proper biosecurity and all that because they're great genetics today, saving you a lot of feed, giving you fantastic egg production for 100 weeks. You can probably get out 500 eggs, but it won't happen without great biosecurity and all that. And my experience, Sanjay, if you're spending on antibiotics, then your business is already screwed. That means you already have a bad economics going on. The less you spend on antibiotics, the better is your business. And that's I can demonstrate that anytime. And I think that's what the industry needs to recognize. So the opportunities are great, but yeah, it's not like a static thing. Your competition is also been like in India, everything will be highly competitive, ultra competitive. But who knows, there are people selling eggs for 12 rupees now and selling out, they don't have enough production. So that's where you have to come in. And because entrepreneurship is not easy, Sanjay. It is not, an entrepreneur doesn't get a break. You're on, you are sleeping, you think about business, you are, I don't know, on a holiday, it won't leave your head. So.
Completely so. Wonderful. Thank you, Raghav, and thank you, Suresh, for this wonderfully engaging session. I loved putting it together, and I'm sure the audience gained a lot out of your wisdom. Thank you very much, and I would now hand it over back to Shravan.
I want to take this opportunity, Sanjay. Thank you very much for moderating this. Really
My
great.
pleasure, Suresh. Anytime.
And Raghav, as usual, thank you so much for being a friend of the industry. I think, of course, that comes from as a professional, you're a friend of good health. And it's, I think, and we are fortunate that we make up, happen to be at the right package to help, I think, public health. And that's what I've always counted as a greatest blessing, that, my father chose the right business to be in, to make his life. He was a communist, but I don't know, somehow, he's from Jadavpur, right? I told you, Sanjay, he studied in Jadavpur. So he didn't get spoiled by the Bengalis, and he came back and became a businessman. And so it's been brilliant for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Suresh. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye now.
On behalf of Srinivasa Farms and the entire team, and on my own behalf, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings and opinions today. I thank Mr. Suresh Utturi, who is a great visionary and is always promoting egg as a holistic nutrition source that is required for human body, for sharing his thoughts with us today. I also extend my thanks to Tim, who was unable to be here with us on live, but had graciously sent his presentation with a lot of knowledge shared with us. And Dr. Raghav Sunil for being here with us and explaining about the benefits of egg consumption and also bursting some of the myths around egg consumption. A special thanks to Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee, who's sparing his valuable time and is also spreading knowledge through his magazine, Indian Poultry Review. Thank you everyone for being such a wonderful audience. We've received some very good questions with respect to poultry industry and also egg consumption as such. So thank you all. Thank you. I also thank the team behind this webinar